podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the mistress of mayhem, the queen of quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to the first Ring Around the Rosie of 2019. I am Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, aka the hostess of this show. The hostess with the smile, the wit, and the really big eyes. Or hair. I'm from Revere. We're known for big hair. Revere is probably one of the reasons there was a hole in the ozone layer. Actually, most kids I went to school with were probably the reason there was a hole in the ozone layer, and my younger sister, because Aquanet was probably the drug of choice in our house. I hope everybody had a really wonderful Christmas, those who celebrate, and also a happy Hanukkah and a great Kwanzaa and a great winter solstice and a wonderful Yule and a terrific Festivus and anything else that I forgot. If I forgot, I'm terribly sorry. And also, I hope everybody had a very happy and safe new year. And hopefully you're not too hungover. My New Year's was good. My husband and I had to work, boo hiss, but we went out to dinner after work. We went to this place in Boston called Max Brenner, which has amazingly, ridiculously good food and these incredible desserts because they're this chocolate place. They like make their own chocolate and it's freaking addictive and awesome and wonderful. So we did that and then we just, went home and watched the ball drop and did all that stuff because we're not as young as we used to be. Sad. Beats the alternative, but it's still sad. We weren't club people when we were younger anyway, and now we're at the age where if we showed up at like some hip trendy club, it'd be like, ew, who brought their mom and dad? It'd be like that kind of a deal. Oh man, when he hears this, he is going to kill me. No, he won't. He'll just be very like, don't say that stuff like that, but so anyway, so here we are. It's 2019. Wow. Still no flying cars, still no matter transporters, still no jetpacks, still no lightsabers. But I'm sure we can find something good to talk about, right? So here we are. And since this is the first show of 2019 for my show here, which I hope you're all enjoying, I thought that I would start by talking about things that I would like to have happen in wrestling in 2018. Now, some of the things that I would like to have wrestling, I will admit, they are, they're the one thing that I would really super duper like, I'm going to talk about right now, and I realize it's probably not going to happen, but it'd be cool if it did. One of the things that I would love to have happen, and that I do think will happen, is I hope we get another show like All In. Unfortunately, the All In pay-per-view, the independent show that happened on September 1st, I did not get to see, but I've heard it was amazing, and I definitely want there to be an All In 2019, because I'm definitely going to find a way to watch it, totally. This was a show that definitely, it was one of those things people said it couldn't be done, it couldn't happen, it wasn't going to be, it just wasn't going to be. And all of the people involved with it, the people that promoted it, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, they made it happen, and you have to really give them a lot of respect for that because, they proved that there's other things out there in America besides the WWE, which is fine. If you love the WWE and that's your only thing that you watch and that's it, that's cool. I'm not going to say like you suck or you're a bad person or anything like that because I don't want to do that on this show, I want to be inclusive and be nice to people, because there's enough people out there being like, you're different, so you suck. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. That's not me. That's not who I am. I mean, I might be completely deranged, but I'm not mean. But I really, really hope there's an all-in 2019. And if you guys are looking for a ring announcer, I work very cheap. Like airfare and autographs. That's all I'm asking for. But one of the things that I would love to have happen in 2019, simply on a complete, sheer, utter fantasy level. Now, we all know that actor and athlete and all-around guy I would not want to piss off, Stephen Amell, star of CW's Arrow, has been involved in wrestling and actually has shown, in the WWE and in All In, and that probably could have been said better, but I'm trying to let's hear it for Sugar. Anyway, Steven, who is somebody that I would definitely want to watch my back in a bar fight, was involved with All In and is actually a really terrific athlete and is a very hardcore individual, competed on the Ninja Show, the American Ninja Show. He's really he's a sick athlete. He's a wicked good athlete. And for those of you who don't know, Steven is also buddies with a couple of other people that work on a different CW show, and that would be Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles from Supernatural. Now, the reason I bring this up, besides the fact that I know a bunch of people out there who listen to a few other shows that I'm involved with, and also including my husband, just went, oh, fuck, here she goes. I was thinking, wouldn't it be awesome in 2019 if Steven called up Jared and Jensen and was like, hey, why don't you guys come and be a 3-man tag team with me? They'd be the best tag team since the Fabulous Freebirds. I mean, they're all incredible athletes, and they're all, they work out really hard, and they've got great bodies. They're awesome they're awesome talkers, the three of them. They all have crazy amounts of charisma. So come on, Steven, get on the phone. Get them up to help you be a wrestler, and you guys be like a 6-man tag team. That'd be kick ass. So seriously, I know that has about as much chance of happening as Chris Evans showing up on my doorstep in the Captain America costume, but a girl can dream. And you actually don't want to know what my dreams are like. Nobody wants to see that. That's frightening stuff. But okay, so now I actually did write down an actual list of things that I would like to see happen in wrestling. The other stuff that I just mentioned, I'd love it to happen, but I know it's not going to. Although I do hope that there's an all-in 2019, and I hope it's awesome and amazing. And I'm not fucking around about the ring announcer job, guys. Seriously, autographs and airfare, that's all I'm asking for, and I will be there. I will be so there for you. These aren't in any order besides the way that I thought them up in my deranged little hamster wheel of a head. So, here we go. Push Mustafa Ali. Big push. He deserves it. Mustafa Ali is an amazing athlete, and, people in NXT have known that for a while, and now people on the main shows are seeing that. He's made a few appearances in this whole thing with him and this kind of smallish program with Daniel Bryan. I'd really like to see it explode into something big and fantastic for him. Because, he's really, really amazing. He's terrific on the mic. He's extremely easy on the eyes. There was a point in there where the Aladdin live action movie was, in production and stuff, and he was really trying, brought up quite a number of times that he would love to play Aladdin, and I gotta be honest, I was totally behind that. I was like, fuck yeah, let him do it. He's a great athlete, he's charismatic, he's wonderful to watch in the ring, and he's wonderful to watch when he's just, talking, having an interview or something like that. He's dynamic, he's charismatic, so really what I would love to see in 2019, big push for Mustafa Ali. Another thing that, now this is a thing that's actually been happening, I would say maybe the last 2 or 3 years, maybe 4. I wouldn't want to say as much as 5 because I think I don't think that's accurate. But every year for the last couple of years, it seems like somebody starts the rumor, this is The Undertaker's last year. This is the year The Undertaker's going to retire. Blah, 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 yada, yada, flambe. Every year. This has pretty much been happening since The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak was broken by Brock Lesnar. Okay. All right. Side rant. Carmella and Truth can have a 7-second dance break. I can have a side rant. Damn it. It's my show. Now, some people would be like, you're still salty about this? Really? Really, really, really? And yeah, I am. Deal. We all knew that sooner or later The Undertaker's streak was going to come to an end. We all knew it. I mean, you know, it's something that people just knew was going to happen sooner or later, eventually. And I actually didn't have a problem with The Undertaker's streak coming to an end. I had a problem with who caused it. That still makes a bile come up the back of my throat. I'm sorry. You know, I just wish the streak had ended with somebody who I actually thought gave a fuck about wrestling. But that's just me, and what the fuck do I know? Anyway, so every year since then, it seems like, this year The Undertaker's definitely going to retire and, you know, hit lather, rinse, repeat on that, because it's been that way ever since the year that the streak ended. If this is The Undertaker's last year of wrestling, if he really retires in 2019, as much as anybody in wrestling really retires, looking at you, Terry Funk. Not that I don't respect you, sir, but Terry Funk's been retiring as long as Cher's been on a farewell concert tour. If this is Taker's last year for real, make it count. Put him in matches that he deserves to be in. Big matches. Put him in, you know, main event marquee stuff. Make it count, because he's given so much to the World Wrestling Entertainment Company. He's given so much to us all as fans. You know, and if this is his last year, and I don't want it to be, but if it is, please make it count. WWE, I'm begging you. Going on with something else that I really want to stay the way it is in 2019, please, WWE, do not turn AJ Styles heel. Please. It's not that I don't think AJ does a good job as a heel. I do. I do think AJ does a good job as a heel. He was a heel in TNA, off and on. He kind of flip-flopped back and forth. Sometimes it was difficult to see him as a heel because, you know, he looked like he was 14. You know, I don't know what it is, but the longer he grows his hair, the more he actually looks his age. I don't get it. But, you know, I also don't get why with the longer hair and the beard, AJ looks more like Tom Cruise. Does anybody else see this? Please tell me it's not just me. I don't get it. But they're now all, because of what happened on SmackDown, where Vince was all up in AJ's face and being all like, I want to see the animal inside of you, blah, 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 which I'm sorry if that didn't come off as a little bit kinky. I don't know what does. And then he slapped AJ to, you know, wake him up or blah, blah, you know, the whole thing. And then AJ punched him and started screaming like a wounded wildebeest, you know. A lot of people are like, oh, now AJ's going to turn heel. And I'm like, no, I don't really think he's going to turn heel from just that one shot, because I think most people would slap somebody back or punch them or whatever if they slapped them in the face. I wouldn't. I'd kick him in the groin. But that's my usual mode of attack. Sorry. But I don't think I don't want AJ to turn heel. I like AJ as a face. some people, some people work both great. Some people work really well as a heel or as a face, depending on what they're doing. Some people you have to be like, well, I really couldn't see whomever as a face, or I couldn't see whomever as a heel, simply because. I think AJ works better as a face, an intense face. I don't have a problem with him being intense. I don't even have a problem with him being a tweener. But please don't turn him heel. Please. Okay, the next one on my list, as I mentioned, these are not in any order. And I'm going to be very, 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 very tack 10 more varies on this specific here. I am not talking about really hurting this person. I am not talking about really injuring this person, okay? This is what I want, but I want this in kayfabe, and I want it really badly. I want somebody to do something to Corey Graves to shut him up. Now, I am not saying that about the person behind the Corey Graves person, wrestling personality. I'm not saying that. I don't know that guy. As far as I know, he might be a lovely person, and I realize that him pissing me off is his job. He is a heel wrestling commentator, and he's really good at it because he annoys the living fucking piss out of me. So, yay for him that he's doing a good job. However, there have been heel commentators for years, and you have to admit out there, maybe not everybody, but me, I used to enjoy watching the heel commentators occasionally get a punch in the face or doused with water like Bobby Heenan did one time from Doink the Clown. Every once in a while, you like to see the heels get what they deserve. We all know the truth about wrestling, and we all know that, these people really aren't the characters that they play on TV, and we know that it's, but we get passionate about it because we're in the moment, or at least we should. If you want to sit there and pick apart something just to feel smart, that's you. But my thing is, every once in a while, you do like to see the bad guys get their comeuppance, and I realize that Corey Graves, for real, is hands off because of the injuries that he suffered that took him out of wrestling, being a wrestler, and that he's just not just a color commentator now, but he is a color commentator because he can't wrestle anymore because he got hurt. And that's sad. That's very sad. But just once, like Renee Young could backhand him, or the New Day could pour syrup on his head, or just something, just one thing. I'm not asking for a lot here. I'm not asking for a week after week after week of Corey Graves getting, humiliated. I don't want that, because that's not fun. If it keeps happening, that's like, after a while, you just kind of feel like, well, this is just mean, and I don't want that. I don't want that. Going forward, this one, I'd like to think a lot of people would agree with me on this one. Less scripted promos. I know that forever people, had people writing promos. That's not news. That's not news to anybody. But none of it sounds like it's coming from the heart anymore. It all sounds like it's coming from a script. And maybe if more people wrote their own material, or were allowed to write their own material, I think that's more what I want to say. And I realize this is a different time. This is not the 90s. This is not before WWE had to answer to shareholders and, so on and so forth and stuff like that. And you can't use a lot of words that people used back then, even back then you weren't supposed to use them. But nothing feels, once in a while something will feel passionate. Someone will give a promo that you're like, damn, that really sounded real, for lack of a better term. But sometimes I'm just sitting there going, nope. Not feeling it. Not buying it. Not at all. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think that it's gotten too polished. Is that the word I want? I think that's the word I want. It's too polished. And speaking of less of something, what I would really like to see in 2019 is less of the McMahons. This whole thing with they've done, done recently on Raw. I mean, other than the fact that it got rid of Baron Corbin as the acting GM, which if nothing else, that was nice. But now we've got the McMahons all out there being all like, oh, it's, we're going to let the fans decide things and all this stuff like that. And to quote one of my favorite movies of all time, I have a very bad feeling about this, paraphrasing it anyway. Now the McMahons are going to be in charge of all the shows. Oh, I don't know. But we're still in charge. The fans are in charge. Right. Yeah. If you believe that, I have some swamp land that I can sell you really, really cheaply. And I don't want us to go backwards. My biggest worry is that we're going to go backwards and deal with the whole, evil Mr. McMahon character, Shane turning heel and running roughshod over SmackDown, and Triple H and Stephanie, being the heads of Raw. I mean, the only time I want to see Stephanie on TV is when Ronda Rousey's almost breaking her arm. That might be because I'm slightly sadistic. Slightly. Stop rolling your eyes. Okay, the next thing that I would like to see is, this is serious. Now, up till this point, I have been being my usual self when it comes to, being my usual wacky, kooky, funster self, trying to be, entertaining for you guys, and I hope I am. This one is serious. This one is not fucking around territory. Somehow in 2019, the WWE has to get out of this deal with Saudi Arabia. Underline that. Circle it. Highlight it. Do what you need to do. But WWE, I don't care if you have to hire every lawyer on the planet. Get it done. This is a black mark against wrestling. This is not something that wrestling needs to be known for right now, being hand in hand with a country that it was bad enough when the WWE was out there hyping, oh, we're going to Saudi Arabia and isn't this going to be wonderful and blah, blah, and all this, and a lot of, propaganda about the Saudi Arabian country and government and stuff like that. Not the people. I am not going to slam on the Saudi people. I'm not doing that because that's definitely not where I'm going with this. But when the whole thing started with Saudi Arabia, like I said, when it started, and I brought this up on a previous show, a lot of people were like, wait, you're going where? What? And a lot of people were really upset. And I was kind of like, I have to admit, total ignorance on my part. I was like, man, why is everybody getting all freaked out? And so I went and, did what everybody does and went and researched it. And I was like, okay, so they do this over there and they do that and this and that. And I was like, well, now I understand why everybody else is upset. And spoiler alert, now I'm upset. And, the way that they treat women, the way that they view people with alternative lifestyles and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, we have the right attitude here and their attitude is wrong and stuff like that. I'm not going to do it. But my whole thing is, okay, that makes me uncomfortable and I can't support that, so I'm not going to watch. And I was comfortable with that. I was completely comfortable. And I was also like, okay, the WWE knows what they're doing, I guess. Now this is early on. I was like that. And then the whole terrible thing happened with the journalist Mr. Khashoggi being murdered, allegedly by people who murdered him in an awful way and, tortured the man and did all these terrible things that allegedly was done on the behest of the Saudi government. And the WWE's answer to that was, well, we just won't say where we're going anymore, but we're still going to go. And we're going to hype the hell out of it. And we're going to have Hulk Hogan show up and for some reasons that I don't understand still. And I just remember sitting there watching all of this stuff go down and watching all of the online pundits and people on TV and stuff like that. And listening to the things they were saying and agreeing with a lot of the things they were saying. And I've just been like, since then, I don't care what they have to do. The WWE has to get out of this deal. They have to. I don't know how. I don't know what it would cost, but it's costing them something more if they stay in it. It's not good. It is not good. Moving forward, one thing that I would also like to see happen in 2018 is seeing less of somebody else on the main roster. And this is not being done in a nasty way. I am not saying this in a nasty, mean way. I'm not. I would really like to see Nia Jax get sent back to NXT, to development, because I'm scared. I'm scared for the people she gets in the ring with. I am, and I don't like saying that. I don't. But one time injuring somebody, you're like, oh, damn, that's not good. 2 times, okay, you might have to dial it back a little bit. 3 times, and then one of those times is when you broke somebody's face on live television? No, absolutely not. Nia could be a terrific worker if she was sent back and honed her craft a little bit more. I really do believe that. But right now, I mean, this latest thing with Becky Lynch that fucked the fuck out of, one of the major pay-per-views of the last year, not to mention fucking up Becky's face. No. I mean, and the fact that the WWE in their infinite wisdom decided, well, we're going to make this part of the story. The whole thing where, that she's now this, hashtag facebreaker, whatever stupid. No! That's rewarding bad behavior. That's rewarding sloppy behavior. No. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. Now, storyline-wise, we all know that wrestling is a soap opera-like phenomenon, for lack of a better term. People have called it a soap opera for men. Well, manly, yes, but I like it too. And if you remember that slogan, congratulations, you're old. But the thing is, the thing about soap operas that last is that they have storylines, for the most part, that are, I don't know, coherent. Just saying. That's the difference between All My Children and something like, Generations. If you remember that show. Anyway, the reason I bring this up, because one thing I really would like to see in 2019 is something approaching clarity, RE, the whole Dean Ambrose, Renee Young situation. And I truly feel bizarre referring to somebody's marriage as a situation, but here we are. It's not a big secret to anybody that Dean Ambrose and Renee Young are married, which is wonderful, which is great and fantastic and good for them. And I'm hoping they're very happy together, because I'm sure that outside of this current dickwad ring persona that Dean's got going, I'm sure he's a lovely guy, and I'm sure he treats her wonderfully, and she's a lucky gal, and so on and so forth, and all of that. However, the fact that we have this whole thing where Dean turned heel, And Renee seemed to be just as stunned as the rest of us when that happened. Now that I don't have a problem with. That I was like, okay, that's interesting. But the fact that he has not only gone heel, but, this whole heel turn has turned into something, I don't even know what. It's got like this whole germaphobe thing, and he's cosplaying as Bane and the gas mask stuff, and I'm not liking it. But the fact that Renee's all like, well, we don't talk about this. I don't know what's going on with him, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, this isn't working. I want some clarity. Whether or not that means turning Renee heel or making, having them kayfabe break up or whatever. Clarity. I want some clarity. I don't think clarity is too much to ask for. I honest to blog don't. I also think that while I am thrilled that Renee is on the announcing table, which I think is awesome, we need more women announcers. We need more women standing out front, not just, holding the mic while somebody rants about how they're going to kick somebody else's ass. We need more women behind the desk. And I just think that would be a great thing. I think we need more women back there. We need more women on the front desk. And by women on the desk being an announcer, I do not mean Stephanie McMahon. Just saying. The last thing that I would like to see happen in 2019 is, it's on a deeper level, and it's a more personal thing. The thing that would make me absolutely happiest, in 2019 wrestling wise would be if we got the news that, Roman Reigns, Joe Inoue, has beaten leukemia and is coming back to wrestling. That would make me super, super happy. But what would make me just as happy is the news that he has beaten leukemia and has a clean bill of health. Even if he doesn't come back to wrestling. As long as he gets to be a dad and a husband and a friend, I'd be fine with that too. I just want him to get well. That's what I want the most for 2019. Hopefully that one's not too much to ask for. So, what would you guys like to see happen in 2019? I would love to know. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com, and put Ring Around the Rosie in the header. Send me your ideas about what you would like to see happen in 2019. I will definitely read them on the air if you would like me to do so. I'd also like to bring up, since we have started a new year, unfortunately some things don't change from the old year. All the old years, we have passings that we have to talk about, and that sucks. As I was going to record this today, we lost somebody really special to the wrestling community. Mean Gene Okarlund passed away today, January 2nd, 2019. He was 76 years old, and I hate doing this part. I really hate it. Mean Gene was one of those people that, if you were a wrestling fan in the 80s, you definitely, knew his voice, his whole distinctive style. Even before that, if you were a fan of the AWA back in the early days, he was with the World Wrestling Federation up through, from the mid 80s up through 1993. From 93 to 2000, he worked for World Championship Wrestling, and after that did come back to the WWE. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. He was part of one of the WWE's program, like the non-wrestling programs on the show Legends House. He also appeared on ESPN's radio show as a celebrity prognosticator, whatever that means. it's really funny because he got the name Mean Gene when he was working in the AWA. It was given to him by Jesse Ventura. And the funny thing is that he got a name like Mean Gene probably just because Jesse thought it rhymed and liked it or whatever. And from what I've heard, he was one of the really good guys in wrestling. He was really well liked by the guys in the back. And as far as I know, I never remember reading a fan having a negative appearance, meeting him or anything like that. He is survived by his wife, Jean. Jean or Jeannie, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And his 2 children. So, wow. It's really weird when someone who's been part of your life for so long that you've never actually met. It's very weird when they're gone because you're like, wow, that just feels extremely strange. All I can really say is rest in peace, Mr. Okarlund. You brought a lot of people a lot of joy in your life. And we're going to miss you, Mean Gene. Definitely going to miss you. I hope you guys enjoyed my show this week. If you have any questions or comments or queries or complaints or, Seth Rollins' phone number or whatever, thought I'd slip that in. I know, stalking is bad. We don't advocate stalking on this show. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at PlatinumRoseLady at Twitter.com. PlatinumRoselle at Twitter.com, sorry. And if you would like to listen to the other shows I am involved with on the interwebs, those would include Subject Cinema, which is a movie podcast that me and my sweet, long-suffering husband, TC, have been doing for more than 10 years. Holy crap. And it's a really fun show. We talk about movies and all kinds of things, and we get kind of crazy. And it's a lot of fun, subjectcinema.com. And I have another show also, Platinum Rose's Garden, that is my Supernatural podcast. If you are a fan of Supernatural, or if you know someone who is, if you could let them know about my show, I would appreciate that very much. We also have some other shows that are part of our little island of misfit toys. Those would include Front Row 5 and 10, which is our list show. TC and I do a list show, and it's a lot of fun. There's Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie. They are great people, and they have a really fun show, too. And Aunt B's Nerd Grotto over on YouTube with our buddy Anthony Lamberti. He is a terrific guy, knows a lot about comics, is an all-around fun person. So I hope you'll check that out as well. If you would like to take a look at some of my literary stuff, I have some poetry and some fiction works on fanfiction.net. You can go over there and search under Platinum Rose Lady to find my stuff. TC has some solo shows as well. I hope you'll check them out because he does some amazing work. His shows include Catastrophe Vortex because he is a disaster movie junkie. I am not. But he knows all things about disaster movies, about movies where stuff blows up, falls down, or goes boom. He loves those. So you can check him out at Catastrophe Vortex. He also has 2 other shows. Tuesday Digidex and 3 Minute Weekend, which are shows that are for movies coming out this week in theaters, on demand, coming out on DVD, stuff like that, so you can know where to spend your money. And he also has some other, we're also working on some other stuff too, which is going to be really cool. Things coming up in the near future that we hope when they do come up, you will check them out because they're a lot of fun. You can also, if you would be so kind as to like, share, and subscribe about our podcast, you can do that on our pages. And if you would like to hear our more dramatic bents, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to plug everything all at once, but here we go. We have all been involved, everybody in Subject Cinema in our little family, our Popcorn and Roses family, have done 2 dramatic readings, and we hope you can check them out if you choose to. One of them is called Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened, which looks at what happened in New York City the night that something very big and pissed off came out of New York Harbor. It is done in conjunction with the 10-year anniversary of the release of the film Cloverfield. I would like to bring up all of the script and everything like that was written by TC because he's crazy talented like that. And we also did a version of the H.G. Wells classic, The War of the Worlds, this past Halloween. You can check that out too. So that is going to wrap up my first show of 2019, kiddos. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you guys have a great week out there. Stay safe. And this is Platinum Rose Lady here at Ring Around the Rosie, signing off for another week. Ciao!
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNR Networks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNR Networks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.